Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving deep into one of the most confusing and haunting investigations ever recorded. A case that left detectives puzzled, experts speechless, and an entire town living in fear. This is the story of a mystery that went far beyond suspicion, a case no one could solve. It all began in a quiet suburban neighborhood where life seemed peaceful and routine. People knew each other, doors were left unlocked, and nothing ever truly went wrong. But one night changed everything. A chilling discovery in a small house at the end of the street would turn this calm town into the center of a dark and twisted investigation. When the police arrived, they found something they could hardly explain. A crime scene that looked both staged and chaotic at the same time. There were no signs of forced entry, no clear motive, and no immediate suspect. Everything seemed meticulously arranged, as if the criminal had planned every detail to confuse anyone who would come looking. The victim, a respected journalist named Laura Bennett, was known for her fearless reporting on corruption and hidden crimes. Her work had made her both admired and disliked. She had recently published an article exposing a major political scandal, and some believed this could have been the reason she was silenced. But there was no proof, only whispers and theories. Detectives went through Laura's notes, her computer, and her phone records. They discovered several mysterious calls in the weeks before her death. The numbers were untraceable, likely from burner phones. Whoever had contacted her knew how to cover their tracks. It was the first sign that this was no ordinary case. The autopsy revealed that Laura had been poisoned, a rare substance that left almost no trace in the body. The toxin was not something easily found, suggesting that the killer had access to specialized chemicals or medical knowledge. That alone made the case more mysterious, because no one in Laura's close circle fit that description. Friends described Laura as cautious and private. She had mentioned feeling followed days before her death, but brushed it off as paranoia. She even told one of her colleagues that she believed she was onto something big, something that could change everything. Those were her final words before she disappeared from sight. Investigators combed through surveillance footage from nearby streets, but found nothing unusual. It was as if the killer had vanished into thin air. There was no trace of anyone entering or leaving her home. The locks were untouched. The security system had not been triggered. It was impossible, yet it happened. The police began to suspect that Laura knew her killer personally. Someone she trusted enough to let inside her home without hesitation. But who could it be? Her friends, her colleagues, even her family, all were questioned. Everyone had an alibi. Everyone seemed innocent. Still, something didn't feel right. Weeks turned into months. The town grew restless. The media speculated endlessly, with theories ranging from professional hitmen to political assassins. Some even believed that Laura had faked her own death to escape the danger her investigation had stirred up. But the evidence said otherwise. Then, one day, a small breakthrough came from an unexpected place. A forensic technician found a faint fingerprint on a glass of water from the crime scene. It didn't belong to Laura. Excitement grew. Finally, a clue. But when the print was analyzed, the results shocked everyone. It matched no one in any national database. It was as if the person had never existed. This discovery only deepened the mystery. Who was this ghost-like figure? Why was their fingerprint the only trace left behind? Detectives began retracing Laura's final days, analyzing every place she visited, every person she spoke to. In one of her notebooks, a name appeared multiple times. E, no last name, no context, just the letter E. That name became the center of the investigation. Was E a source, a friend, a threat? Laura's messages revealed nothing more. Whoever E was, they had carefully erased every digital footprint. The investigation reached a dead end again, and frustration grew among the officers working the case. Months passed, and the case was quietly shelved, but some investigators couldn't let it go. There was something too strange, too precise about the way everything unfolded. One detective, in particular, kept digging even after being told to stop. He believed there was more to Laura's story, something powerful people didn't want to be exposed. In his unofficial research, he found that two of the individuals Laura had investigated in her last report were connected to a private research lab specializing in biochemical testing. The same lab that once faced allegations of illegal experiments involving toxins. The very toxin found in Laura's body. Coincidence or something darker? When the detective tried to reopen the case, his request was denied. Key evidence had gone missing from the police archive, including Laura's laptop. Someone didn't want the truth to come out. Despite the lack of progress, the story refused to die. True crime enthusiasts, online sleuths, and investigative journalists started re-examining the case. They uncovered new details, strange financial transactions in Laura's bank account, encrypted messages, and a hidden drive found in her apartment years later. On that drive were dozens of documents, files labeled with code names and hidden links. One file stood out, Project Aegis. The contents were partially corrupted, but what remained suggested a secret agreement between government officials and private corporations to suppress certain information. Laura had found out about it, and it might have cost her life. After this revelation, the case resurfaced in the media. Theories multiplied again, but still, no arrests were made. The people mentioned in her files denied everything. Some disappeared from the public eye, and just like that, the story began to fade again, leaving more questions than answers. Years later, a podcast brought the case back into the spotlight. The host interviewed people who had known Laura, revisited the evidence, and exposed contradictions in the original police report. Listeners were hooked. The story spread like wildfire online. During one of the podcast episodes, an anonymous caller claimed to know the truth. The voice was disguised, and the call was traced to another country. The caller said Laura's death was not random. It was a message, a warning to others who got too close to certain secrets. Then the call abruptly ended. The podcast team handed the recording to the authorities, but nothing came of it. The voice was impossible to trace. The signal bounced through multiple servers around the world. Still, for many, it confirmed what they already suspected. Laura had been silenced for what she knew. As the years passed, her story became more than just a crime. It became a symbol, a warning about the dangers of truth and the price of uncovering it. People built online communities dedicated to solving her case, analyzing every small detail. Some even believed they had identified E, linking them to a network of whistleblowers. But without proof, it remained speculation. The detective who had once investigated the case retired, but continued his pursuit privately. In a rare interview, he admitted he believed the real killer was protected, shielded by influence, power, and fear. Some truths, he said, are buried too deep for justice to reach, and that's where the case stands today. Unsolved, unresolved, and still haunting those who dare to ask too many questions. Every mystery has clues. Every crime leaves traces. But in Laura Bennett's story, everything was erased perfectly. Every lead turned into a dead end. Every piece of evidence vanished, and every truth was hidden under layers of deception. The strangest part, even years after her death, people still report seeing her name surface in new leaks, new documents, and mysterious online forums. It's as if the truth she fought to expose refuses to stay buried. Many now believe that Laura's investigation didn't die with her. Some think someone else, maybe E, has continued her work, releasing fragments of what she discovered piece by piece, keeping her mission alive. Whether that's true or not, one thing remains certain. Her story changed how people saw the world. It reminded everyone that sometimes the most dangerous crimes aren't the ones committed in the dark, but the ones committed behind closed doors, hidden under layers of lies, power, and silence. So who killed Laura Bennett? Was it someone close to her, part of the system she exposed, or a hired hand sent to make sure the truth never came out? The answer lies somewhere between fact and fear, evidence and silence, and until someone breaks that silence, this case will remain forever beyond suspicion. Even today, new theories surface every few months. Some claim that Laura's encrypted files still contain hidden messages that could expose names and dates. Others believe her death was faked, and that she's living under a new identity, waiting for the right time to reveal everything. But those who truly knew her don't believe that. They say she was too brave, too committed to ever walk away. To them, the tragedy was real, and so was her courage. And maybe that's the point. Not all mysteries are meant to be solved. Some are reminders that truth can be dangerous, and that some people are willing to risk everything just to bring it to light. The case of Laura Bennett remains one of the most baffling unsolved investigations of our time. No arrests, no confessions, no justice, only theories, fragments, and unanswered questions. But even without closure, her legacy endures. Every time a journalist dares to ask hard questions, every time someone digs deeper into corruption or secrecy, Laura's spirit lives on. The people may forget her name, but her story still whispers in every newsroom, every dark archive, and every corner of the internet where truth seekers gather. It's a reminder that some crimes can hide from justice, but not from memory. And that's the chilling truth behind this unsolved mystery. Beyond suspicion, beyond logic, beyond the reach of law, a case that continues to echo through time, haunting those who try to understand it. So as you watch this, remember some stories don't end. They simply fade into the silence, waiting for someone brave enough to listen again. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as mysterious and haunting as we did, make sure to like, share, and subscribe for more true crime stories that reveal the secrets hidden behind the shadows. Because in the end, truth always finds a way to come back, even when no one can solve the case.